You've really come on the scene like this year. I mean, I know you've been starting there for a while, but everyone's starting to hear your name now, but I don't think a lot of people know your background. So like, let's start with your recruiting process. How did that process go? I know you grew up in Missouri, right? And always kind of dreamed of going to Missouri, for at least that's what I've read. So tell us the story in your version.
Yeah, my recruiting process was pretty underwhelming, I'd say. I grew up in St. Louis, and I was a Mizzou fan, right? So come up to games on Saturday, that's where I learned what college football was. My earliest memories of college football was Mizzou, right? And I had the chance to see Chase Daniel, Blaine Gabbert, James Franklin, Drew Lock, and that's who I watched, that's where I watched football. So, my biggest goal in high school was let's go get an offer from Mizzou. And then I was able to do that the end of my sophomore year in high school. And I waited a couple months, tried talking to a couple other schools. But ultimately I was like, I don't know why I'm waiting. All I'm doing by waiting is giving, another quarterback the chance to take my spot. So I committed. And once I committed, at the beginning of my junior year, I don't think I spoke to another coach. So that was it for the recruiting process. And then 2 weeks before signing day, because I committed to Coach Odom, who's now the head coach at UNLV. So I committed to Coach Odom 2 weeks before signing day. He was fired, right? So, for a second there, I'm thinking, holy crap, I've been committed for 2 years to this school and this coach, and 2 weeks before signing day, he's no longer the coach, and I haven't talked to any other schools. So I was super worried, but ultimately just trusted that, it was going to work out, and trusted in Coach Drink. So it ended up working out.
Whether you're a current athlete, a former athlete, or just an everyday person trying to stay in shape, you need to try the B37S percussion gun from Ekron Athletics. Go to EkronAthletics.com today and start recovering faster and moving easier. That's Ekron Athletics, and use promo code NEXTUP for 25% off your purchase. That's EKRIN Athletics.com with promo code NEXTUP for 25% off your purchase.
It's such a part of the recruiting process in the game, especially nowadays, that I think fans don't always think about is everyone tells you to not pick a school because of the coaches, right? You hear that. I mean, how much do people tell you that as advice, when you're in high school? Don't choose it because of the coaches, because you never know if they'll be there. But the reality is that you really do pick a school because of the coaches. You got to pick it because of the coaches. And I think that's so many players now, especially with you get recruited also by position coaches. And your position coach, the chance of your position coach being there for 4 years or 5 years is that never happens. So yeah, I mean, it had to be such an eye-opening process when you have a coaching change right in the middle of your recruitment.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was, and I had to sit down and basically say, I have 2 weeks to make a decision, and I can try to reach out at this point and see if there's more options. And Coach Odom was obviously. He was going to Arkansas as the DC, so I don't know if there's much opportunity there. And I was like, shoot, I committed to Mizzou. I want to play at Mizzou. I'm going to stick to it. So